I think that the real thing that we need to look at is a culture that has been established by Rupert Murdoch in his bottom-end institutions like News of the World, in which any tactics are permissible in pursuit of the story, no matter how reprehensible. And that has been the brand of journalism that Rupert Murdoch has encouraged at his low-end newspapers. He has taken an institution, much like Nixon took the presidency, which is intended for high purposes, and turned them into low purposes in which his people have been doing all kinds of things for many years that responsible, respectable reporters and journalists have no business doing unless they want to be considered thugs and criminals. And that's what this is about, not a particular act of hacking. This hacking could not have happened, as someone told me, were it not for the culture that Murdoch established there. So it's not about finding a smoking gun any more than Watergate was about just finding a smoking gun in terms of Nixon. It is about taking a high-minded institution like the press and turning it into a low-use institution for retribution, for political power, for personal ends, and doing vile things, not just hacking.
There is talk that News International will effectively issue a mea culpa this weekend, buying advertising space, we believe, across the board in British newspapers. Some say too little, too late. Carl, how and when did Murdoch lose his legendary sure footing as he dithered on how to deal with this case?
Because finally the political class that he has so controlled in Britain has turned against him, because people became outraged at a certain point when his tactics, which he has used all over the lot, were extended to the royal family and to the victim of a murder, when it no longer was just about celebrities. Remember, Rupert Murdoch has trafficked in gossip, sensationalism, manufactured controversy at the bottom end of his newspapers for a long time. He then, very much almost like a mafia family, has the high end of his legitimate businesses. He is a far-seeing genius when it comes to knowing media, to understanding you can establish new institutions to do things like Sky News has done that others have never done in the history of British broadcasting. So there are two sides to this man. But the whole empire that he has been building all these years has been built upon this low business of personal exploitation, of journalists willing to do anything to get the story.
OK, and many people agree with you. I guess there will be those who say this is a guy who was spending $1 million a day in the 1990s. He nearly went bankrupt. He's built up an organisation. Maybe it's too nepotistic at the top. Maybe they won't survive forever, the Murdochs at the top of News Corp. But he's been a successful businessman. And he's not the worst, is he, at the end of the day?
I think in terms of journalism and having a pernicious influence on journalism, he has been the worst of the last 50 years. At the same time, I think he is a brilliant media executive who has done many things that others have failed to see. For instance, he created a fourth television network in the United States, not Fox News, but Fox TV, when everyone in the business said it could never be done. At the same time, he also created Fox News, which has nothing to do with what real journalism is, which is the best obtainable version of the truth. Fox News really is again about manufactured controversy, about ideologically driven reporting. So you have these two things. On the one hand, you have this grand ambition to be a great player, and then it's what is done to get there, which is a brand of low methodology that reporters acting like thugs ought not be doing.